It's the community. That's the biggest problem with the game. But before you tell me that I'm wrong, I am not talking about the majority. The 90% of you are great. And honestly, one of the best parts about the game. I have played MMOs for most of my life, and I can't emphasize enough that this is probably the most welcoming group of people in an MMO that I've ever played. But the last 10% of the community,
What's wrong with you?
the crowd of 10 voices, where if you say something bad about the game, it sounds more like 100 voices. And they're so loud that they can sound as though they're the entire community. Yes, I am talking about the vocal minority. And I think that is the biggest problem in Final Fantasy XIV. Let's talk about it. I think in the MMO sphere, everyone has heard to some degree three main things about Final Fantasy XIV. One being how good the story is, two, how friendly the community is, and three, how that community is kind of cult-like. So I've played the game for just over a year now, and I can confirm that the story is really, really good. I liked A Realm Reborn, the second half. I liked all of Heavensward, Stormblood, and I loved Shadowbringers. And I thought Endwalker was really good too. In fact, I thought it made Shadowbringers even better. I can also confirm the community is super friendly, in a good way, especially to new players or what they call sprouts. I mean, the game is practically a decade old now, and the people playing are still so patient. I have queued up dungeons where people will wait for me to finish watching the cutscene before the final encounter. They don't actually have to wait, but they choose to, which is nice. I've actually even had a few times where during a trial or an alliance raid, someone would notice I was a sprout, and they would ask me if I was having fun, if I was enjoying the game, and they would tell me how excited they were for me to see the next cutscene. Which, honestly, the fact that anyone would even bother to ask me that is already amazing in of itself. It is also true, however, that the community is cult-like. But I want to make a distinction here. The majority of people, they are chill, and they seem genuinely happy that a new player is even playing at all. And maybe they want to watch the MSQ as if they're reacting to a show, and that's that. The cult reputation, I think, is solely on the vocal minority. The people who are so emotionally attached to the game that they unintentionally or maybe intentionally act like a hive mind. You are welcomed until you are not. You are told how you should play the game, how you should think about the story, and how you should feel during certain parts of the MSQ. If you skip any cutscenes or say you don't like a character or a storyline, good luck. You have to constantly deal with purity tests that the people put on by asking, hey, are you really enjoying the game or are you pretending to enjoy the game? You must always follow the status quo, and any suggestions to want to change the game or improve the game is met with a defense force, already typing paragraphs about why you're wrong and how the game is perfect as is. And any attempt to want to move on and play something else is seen as a betrayal. Once you're in, you have to stay in if you want to be in their good graces. And don't you dare talk about World of Warcraft. Now, you may be thinking, hey, isn't this a streamer problem? Yeah, you're right. In fact, from my experience starting the game, I was under the impression that the Final Fantasy community is the most friendliest group of people that I've ever played with. But it was almost borderline weird how nice everyone was at all times. And it wasn't until I liked the game enough that I did what I believe most people would do, which is when I couldn't play the game, well, I wanted to watch stuff on it. I wanted to watch videos and streams on it. And the community could not have looked more different. And why was that? Why was it so different than in the game? And then it hit me. It's basically TOS to be mean in the game. Because unlike other MMOs, this one actually has GMs that enforce a laundry list of policies. Now, let me admit right now, I'm a cynical person. But when I'm progging Ultima Weapon Extreme and the same three people mess up the same mechanics for over an hour and no one in chat says anything, no one complains, No one posts strats. No one checks in on if so-and-so needs any help. Nothing. It's just quietly pushing through. And this one fight all the way back in a Realm Reborn, it is a core memory to me because it was the first time that I thought, okay, everyone is way too nice. And it was after that realization that it inadvertently raised the questions to me. Is this toxic positivity? Were people being nice because they had to? That 10%, that vocal minority, they were able to cast such a wide shadow of doubt for me on the entire community. Because between the high degree of friendliness and tolerance in the game, but at the same time, the willingness to cannibalize themselves by suffocating content creators and viewers, potential new players, or any little thing, it really blurred the line on whether or not the community is really as nice and as friendly as it seems. Now, does it affect the average Joe? Does it affect the person who just logs in a game, wants to play, has a set group of friends that they play with every day, and that's that? You know, if they never go online, if they never watch anything about the game, probably not. But I definitely noticed something was a little off. Now, Final Fantasy XIV is an amazing game. From the storyline, from the amazing cast of characters, to the incredible music, the majority of the player base, and the spectacle of the fights, there is a lot here to enjoy. There are so few issues I have with the game that of them all, this was the biggest one that I wanted to talk about. So what do you think about it? What is your biggest problem with the game? Comment below, and thanks for watching. Peace.